there and welcome back to Japan, as accented by the vending machines and that tannoy announcement. Is there a reason why I'm at a ski resort? No, I can't even ski. However, I went for a walk and I decided it's time for us to have a talk on the topic of selling out. Now, selling out is considered to be one of the worst damnations that you can really bestow upon any musical artist, or I think any artist at all. So to look at it, we have to really address three issues. First of all, what it actually is. Second of all, what it would therefore look like if someone actually did sell out. And third of all, really what the main motivations are behind producing music at all. Now, personally, and for the sake of this video, I would define selling out as basing the majority of your creative decisions on that which will provide profit over that which is of genuine artistic merit. Now, I say the majority as in more than half because obviously there's nothing wrong with bands and artists having a focus on making profit. I mean, that's the only reason that they get into the state of actually being famous and being seen. I mean, I do love bands like, say, for example, Cardiacs, who go in a direction where you can't possibly see how they're expected to make any money from that, and actually just by having that honest core to their creative output have managed to build up a loyal following of fans. However, as a general, I've got no problem with artists having a focus on making some profit. But like I say, for the sake of selling out, we're referring to artists who put more than, the majority of their focus on money rather than creative output. So to address these ideas of selling out, we have to ask what selling out would look like realistically. Although not exclusively true, when people talk about selling out, it usually refers to an artist changing to a more pop style and embracing tropes of the current chart toppers, even when it doesn't necessarily work for them. The association with pop is unsurprising, as the word pop is just short for popular, and what is popular is most likely what is profitable. I would present that the motivation for pandering to popular styles would likely be one of, or a combination of, the five following things. Number one, greed. The worst and most stereotypical motivation, as well as being quite unusual as a primary motivator in my opinion. I'll get onto why later. But it is entirely possible that you were never really into music that much to start with. Maybe you got lucky in getting famous and are just looking for more money. When I think of this, I mostly think of those rappers who have no lyrical skill and just talk about fashion, brands and cars. Mostly the Face Tattoo Brigade who just sell outs before their very first release. But it is entirely impossible to extend this concept to other artists in other genres who may be less blatant and may just have lost the love for music entirely over time as their lives changed. So if you have no real love for the art, you are likely to just copy that which is profitable because music is your current and well-paying career, so you just start to view it as a revenue stream and nothing more. Number two, boredom. A talented artist may well just want to try whatever's new to escape being stereotyped. They might get tired of being associated with just one sound when they feel like they can do a whole lot more, rightly or wrongly. It could even be made worse if they have a big fan base who adores them as being a representative of that said sound or style. Possibly even they may grow to secretly resent their fans for seeing them that way and being associated with the image of their most popular albums as those works become longer and longer ago. Imagine as they're asked to keep on playing the same aging singles or write material of a similar vein, as they see years of progress as musicians since then which have gained less acknowledgement. A punk band who resents that every time they do a medium tempo song, their fans say it's the weakest song on the album. A metal band who just want to creatively address less aggressive emotions but get told they're going soft. Any artist who looks out and sees primarily one type of fan in their crowd, whether it be on the basis of generation or genre. For a creative, it can be difficult to accept when your audience is not diverse, as you could feel imprisoned by it. Yes, this does require a slightly ungrateful mindset from the artist, but it's hard to blame someone for struggling with just being seen as a shadow of who you were in years past. A stylistically stagnant artist like this, looking for new tools to add to their palette, could easily fall foul of appearing to sell out, as they may look towards whatever's the most recent and likely digital production-based tools that are on offer. Number 3. Excitement.
it's very plausible that a musical artist hears a new sound and genuinely likes it. Maybe the latest style or genre really captures their imagination and they just want to explore that. Now, just like a photographer learning to paint, there's no guarantee that they'll actually succeed. Relevant talents may be on their side, but there will be specifics in any genre change that might result in them sounding incomplete or out of touch with the style they seek to adopt, and therefore make it sound like an uninvested cash grab when it was actually just a genuine attempt to embrace something new. 4. Age. Obviously, it would be foolish to assume that age makes you soft or that youth gives you more purposeful or emotional drive. However, it's also not a big surprise that sentimental blues is not often associated with teenagers, and over 50s are less likely to write songs about fighting social injustice or their intention to get revenge on an ex-girlfriend for dumping them. It is possible to soften and mature your sound without selling out, but some artists may find that once their original message and motivation has faded, they don't have the skill set to mature, and so try to maintain an urgent sound by picking up on whatever younger, popular artists are doing now. Number 5, therefore, is relevance. It is possible that an artist came to recognition on the back of a temporary explosion of one musical style. An arena rock band from the 80s, say, a grunge band from the 90s, a skater punk or nu metal band from around the millennium. When your genre goes from being the current big thing to being quickly outdated, you can either stay as you were, be creative enough to find a new timeless identity, or simply look for the latest craze and try to jump on that to stay on top of the wave. So, as I hope this all highlights, there are many reasons why an artist could do something that would appear to be a sellout move. If an artist succeeds in the transformation, it only proves they got what they wanted, not why they wanted to make that change in the first place. I guess the nearest thing to a guarantee of good intent would be if they were unsuccessful with copying popular tropes but carried on doing it anyway. What is important to remember, however, is that the majority of factors lean towards the audience assuming a sellout where none exists. Obviously, any deviation from what a fan base expects will alienate some people, especially those who see their fandom as part of their personal identity, rather than viewing the music as just some sonic entertainment. If you filled your house with posters, covered your car in stickers, and publicly joined every social media group just to find that your favourite artist is producing an album or song that you wouldn't really want to identify with, say fumbling contemporary production techniques, coming across soft and emotional, or sounding embarrassing like they're playing to the younger generation, it's understandable you might have a negative response to this. You obviously want your fandom to be part of how people recognise you, but you have therein signed over partial control of your identity to the artist. So a feeling of betrayal is actually quite logical, as your purchases likely have contributed to that artist's fame, and a perceived attempt to gain more money from different sources and audiences would be kind of difficult to rationalise. This is one of the reasons why I'm a great advocate for loving musical artists, but avoiding ever taking it too personally or perceiving too much of a personal relationship in your fandom. From the artist's side, it's also quite unlikely that they would completely forsake the art form that they have to perform every day, and that they were likely doing before it was profitable for them at all. As I mentioned earlier, I accept that profit is a motivation to almost all artists, and rightly so, but no one ever wants to do a job that they don't enjoy. With exception to the rare cases where they never enjoyed music to begin with or have totally lost the love, I find it hard to believe any artist truly sells out in the way it's sometimes claimed. And I think it would show in very lackluster performances, just like an office worker who's sick of doing the same joyless job every day after the novelty wears off, and then they just come in and phone it in. It would kind of look like the musical equivalent of that. My conclusion would be that, therefore, the majority of the time, what we see as selling out is a mixture of the points, both positive and negative perhaps. As I mentioned at the beginning, creative decisions should really be at least 50% artistic with any artist, but maybe an artist who's achieved as much as they ever wanted and said all they ever intended, they might find themselves shifting to a higher ratio of profit focus while still being primarily creatively driven. maybe just a little boredom creeps in and they just want to try something little, or they just want to try and be relevant, or just be playful. Just trying to get a response, I guess you could say. If anything, I think the creative process is not actually black and white enough for the term sellout to have much functional use. Therefore, I'd deem it to be a bit of a non-starter and not really useful as a term to really throw at any artist.
So at the end of the day, when it's all considered, the one fact that you can't escape is that, unfortunately, we never really know what an artist's motivations are. Now, the analogy that I often use is that really understanding what an artist is thinking is kind of like getting to know a person just by reading their Facebook wall and their Facebook wall alone. Even if you're hearing directly from the artist, you can never be 100% sure what they're really thinking, but maybe you can get a good idea. So, when it all comes down to it, this is always going to be opinion. But what I'm really interested to know is what you guys think. Are there any artists who you think have been unfairly accused of selling out, who perhaps you think their motivations are different? I mean, two names that come up quite a lot in this conversation, rightly or wrongly, whatever you think, again, I'm not casting judgment, is One OK Rock and Man with a Mission. These are two bands who I've heard people say have sold out. Personally, I mean, like I say, I think it's too hard to even come up with judgment. Just for the sake of conversation, though, I would say that they seem to present a mixture of all three possible motivations. They do seem to obviously want to do what is profitable, but at the same time, I think they're trying to be relevant. I think they're trying to be cool, and I do think they genuinely enjoy what they're doing. I don't think either band would have invested so much time in their current sound if it wasn't for that. And they do, they don't just do one thing. So it's a difficult conversation, but like I say, it's a conversation that I want to open up to you guys now. So let me know what you think. Maybe put forward any suggestions for, like I say, bands who you think have been wrongly accused of this, or whether you have an entirely different opinion or slightly different opinion on the very concept of selling out itself. So anyway, from here in the beautiful waning snowfalls of Japan, I'm going to say thank you very much again. Looking forward to reading your comments. Thank you for anyone who follows the social medias linked in the description below, liking, subscribing, all those kind of things. As always, greatly appreciated. And a big, big thank you, as always, to our patrons who keep this channel alive. As I say, if it wasn't for you guys, I would probably just be living in a field like this anyway. So, big thank you to all of you. Thank you to making it through to the end of this video. And until I see you very soon in Japan, hopefully, for another one of these. For now, ciao, ciao.